conditions of electric service by Rocky Mountain Power to Kennecott. That's Commission Docket number 23-035-51. My name is Michael Hammer, and I'm the Commission's designated presiding officer. We'll begin by taking appearances, beginning with Kennecott, please.
Philip Russell on behalf of Kennecott.
And for Rocky Mountain Power?
Catherine Smith on behalf of Rocky Mountain Power.
For the Division of Public Utilities?
Patrick Ricu, Assistant Attorney General representing the division.
And for the Office of Consumer Services?
Robert Moore, Assistant Attorney General representing the Office of Consumer Services.
All right, I believe that's all the parties. Is there anyone else on the line that isn't here to spectate or as a witness that would like to announce him or herself? All right, and are there any preliminaries before we have Mr. Russell call as witness?
Just one, Mr. Hammer. This is Mr. Russell. We had filed prior to the hearing a motion, a stipulated motion, I should say, for the admission of testimony. The purpose of that motion was to sort of streamline this hearing process. I'm wondering if the commission wants to weigh in on that motion.
Yeah, there's no objection to that motion, give it as stipulated, but I'll just give anyone an opportunity now. All right, then we'll go ahead and verbally grant that motion now, so you need not worry about requesting admission of your exhibits or pre-filed testimony. Go ahead and call your witness, Mr. Russell.
Yeah, and I'll just note before I call Mr. Sands that the stipulated motion it admitted that the pre-filed testimony and then the comments of the division in the office as testimony. It also sought the admission of the stipulation in new ESA. So I think we're covered admitting.
Sorry, Mr. Russell, you're
Yes.
coming in and out. Could you maybe sit closer to your mic?
Well, maybe I'll do. Let's see if I can use earbuds. That might help. Bear with me for just a second. Is this any better?
It's still.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Give me a second here.
Let me just make sure. Was it just me or?
I think if you speak slowly, Mr. Russell, she can probably pick it up. Your voice is crackling a little bit, but if you speak slowly, I think we can probably all understand you.
Okay, I will try that.
Oh, that sounds much better. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll proceed. Kennecott calls Stephen Sands.
Mr. Sands, do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Russell.
Thank you. Could you state and spell your name for the record, please?
My name is Stephen C. Sands. That's STEPHENCSANDS.
And can you tell us who you work for and in what capacity?
I work for Kennecott, Utah Copper as the manager of energy strategy.
And on whose behalf do you appear here today?
I appear here today on behalf of Kennecott, Utah Copper.
And did Kennecott and Rocky Mountain Power reach a settlement stipulation in this docket?
Yes.
As part of that settlement, did Kennecott and Rocky Mountain Power negotiate a new energy services agreement that will start January 1, 2026?
Yes, we did.
Do you appear here today to support the settlement stipulation and the new ESA?
Yes, I do.
Does Kennecott request that the commission approve the new ESA?
Yes.
Have you prepared a summary in support of the stipulation in the new ESA that you wish to share with us today?
Yes, I have.
Okay, please proceed with that summary.
Okay. I want to start by thanking the commission for providing a venue for us to raise our concerns in this matter, and then also for allowing us to pause this matter for a number of months while Kennecott and Rocky Mountain Power negotiated a new agreement. Kennecott filed the application in this docket asking the commission to set new rates, terms, and conditions of electric service from Rocky Mountain Power because at the time we felt we didn't have a path forward to get a new contract in place with Rocky Mountain Power without involving the commission. Once the docket was open and testimony was filed, all parties could identify their concerns, and we were able to take those issues and ultimately work out an agreement with Rocky Mountain Power that will serve Kennecott's electric service needs and will also ensure that Kennecott pays for that cost of service. I want to also thank the division in the office for meeting with us several times throughout this process. Those meetings allowed each of us to identify our concerns and where we thought we might be able to be flexible and where we thought we couldn't be flexible. And this ultimately led us to find an approach in the new ESA that will work for all parties. I'm pleased that we've been able to reach a new agreement with Rocky Mountain Power that will run through 2032. This gives us long-term certainty that we'll need to continue to make investment in our operations. The structure of the new arrangement is such that by the end of it, Kennecott will have contract rates based on tariffs approved by the commission that will ensure that Kennecott pays its full cost of service. This was our goal in filing the application, both because we think it's the correct outcome, but also because it ensures that we do pay our full cost of service. I appreciate the frank discussions we've been able to have with Rocky Mountain Power throughout this process and its willingness to work together to find a path forward that works for everyone. I also appreciate the division and office's diligent review of the new ESA and their comments supporting its approval. On behalf of Kennecott, I respectfully request that the commission approve the settlement stipulation in the new ESA. Such approval will resolve all current disputes between Kennecott and Rocky Mountain Power regarding the provision of electric service, and we look forward to continuing to receive service from Rocky Mountain Power under the new ESA. This includes my summary remarks, Phil.
Thank you, Mr. Sands. Mr. Sands is available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
Ms. Smith,
No questions.
Mr. Griecu,
No questions.
Mr. Moore.
No questions, thank you.
All right, I don't have any, Mr. Sands. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses, Mr. Russell?
Kennecott had two witnesses that pre-filed testimony. Mr. Sands was one and Mr. Higgins was the other. Mr. Higgins' testimony has already been admitted, and so I don't feel the need to call him unless anybody has questions that they would like to pose to Mr. Higgins.
Does anyone? I don't
No.
think that'll be necessary then.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Understood. Yes. Kennecott has concluded its presentation. I'm wondering if we can excuse Mr. Higgins if he's not needed.
Yes, you're excused, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you. Nothing further from Kennecott.
Ms. Smith,
Yes, thank you. Rocky Mountain Power would like to call Craig Eller as company witness.
Mr. Heller, do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Eller, please state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Craig Eller, CraigEller.
And by whom are you employed?
Pacific Corp.
And what is your role with the company?
I'm the Senior Vice President of Resource Strategy and Development.
In your position, have you had the opportunity to review the application, the testimony, and the comments in this proceeding?
Yes.
Can you please provide a summary of your position?
Yes. Good morning. Rocky Mountain Power supports Kennecott's request for commission approval of the stipulation and settlement agreement between Rocky Mountain Power and Kennecott filed in Docket 23-035-51, filed December 13th, 2024. The existing electric service agreement is set to expire on December 31st, 2025. The company and Kennecott have met numerous times to mutually agree upon rates, terms, and conditions for Rocky Mountain Power's provision of electric service to Kennecott after the expiration of the existing electric service agreement. The company believes this replacement agreement is just, reasonable, and in the public interest. Therefore, Rocky Mountain Power supports the approval of the stipulation and settlement agreement and requests the commission issue an order approving the stipulation and adopting the terms and conditions of the stipulation. The new service agreement contains confidential information and was filed through the Commission's confidential portal. However, if there are any questions for the company regarding the service agreement's content, I can answer those questions within a confidential setting. Thank you for your time and consideration today.
Thank you. Mr. Eller is available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
Mr. Russell,
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Creekyu,
No questions.
Mr. Moore.
No questions, thank you.
I have none. Thank you, Mr. Eller. Any other witnesses, Ms. Smith?
No additional witnesses. Thank you.
Mr. Creekyu,
Thank you. The division's witness today is Annette Orton, and I believe Mr. Jeffrey Einfeld he will not be testifying, but if there's any questions regarding his testimony, I believe he could be made available.
all right, go ahead and call your first witness.
Division calls Annette Orton.
Ms. Orton, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Annette Orton, and it is spelled ANNETTEORTON.
And by whom are you employed?
The Utah Division of Public Utilities.
And what is your business address?
It is the Heber M. Wells Building, 160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah.
And what is your position at the division?
I'm employed as a utility analyst.
And how long have you been with the division?
I've been with the division for almost 2 years.
Could you provide a brief overview of your educational background and relevant work experience?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree in business management with an emphasis in accounting from Utah Valley University. I was employed by the state of Utah Division of Child and Family Services as a caseworker for 17 years. I testified in court regarding child welfare cases. For the next 8 years, I was employed by Garfield County School District, performing several accounting functions. I've been employed by the division since May of 2023. I attended the Basics Practical Regulatory Training in Albuquerque, New Mexico in October 2023, and other utility training courses.
Have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
Yes,
Did you review the filings by the parties, the stipulation and settlement agreement, and the energy services agreement in this docket?
yes.
Can you please describe briefly how you evaluated the energy services agreement?
I reviewed the Kennecott application for the energy service agreement with Rocky Mountain Power. The contract was studied for compliance with Utah Code and Commission orders.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed the division's initial comments filed on January 31st, 2025?
Yes.
And do you have any changes or corrections to those?
No. No.
And do you adopt the contents of that filing as part of your testimony today?
Yes.
In the division's view, is the stipulation and settlement agreement just and reasonable and result, and would approval be in the public interest?
Yes.
And would approval of the new energy services agreement filed as confidential exhibit 1 be just, reasonable, and in the public interest?
Yes.
Do you have a summary to share today?
Yes.
Please proceed.
The division recommends the commission approve the energy service agreement, or ESA, between Rocky Mountain Power and Kennecott Utah Copper LLC. The ESA under consideration extends the terms of service through December 31st of 2032. Rocky Mountain Power represents this agreement moves Kennecott closer to covering its full cost of service, and the agreement contains certain guardrails and provisions to protect Rocky Mountain Power's general ratepayers from market volatility and other risks as Kennecott transitions to full service. The division communicated with both parties during negotiations. The division determined that the ESA will cover fixed costs of the utility and comply with commission guidelines established in prior orders. The division finds the ESA to be just, reasonable, and in the public interest and recommends the commission approve the ESA. This concludes my summary.
Thank you. The witness is now available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
Mr. Russell,
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Smith,
No questions.
Mr. Moore.
No questions. Thank you.
I have none. Thank you, Ms. Orden. And Mr. Grieco, I believe you said that you thought you could simply call the one witness today, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we'll turn to Mr. Moore.
Excuse me. The Office of Consumer Services calls Bela Vostag and asks that he be sworn.
Mr. Vostok, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Vostag, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Bela Vostag. That's BELA VASTAG.
All right, how are you employed and what is your business address?
I am employed by the Office of Consumer Services as a utility analyst, and our business address is 160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah.
In your capacity as a utility analyst, did you review the application, testimony, comments, settlements, filings, and the ESA that is the subject of this docket?
Yes, I did.
Your testimony and comments have been admitted pursuant to the party stipulated motion, but do you have a summary prepared of the Office of Consumer Services position in this docket?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
Good morning. Just a little background first. Kennecott initiated this proceeding in November of 2023 because at the time, negotiations for a new contract between Kennecott and Rocky Mountain Power had stalled. The two parties were trying to negotiate new terms of service to replace Kennecott's existing electric service agreement, or ESA, when it expires on December 31st, 2025. After this docket opened, parties, including the Office of Consumer Services and the Division of Public Utilities, filed testimony addressing several issues regarding new terms of service for Kennecott. But then in May of 2024, the Public Service Commission issued an order vacating the remaining schedule for testimony and a hearing because Kennecott and Rocky Mountain Power were now close to reaching an agreement on a new ESA. And then finally, on December 13th, 2024, Kennecott filed the new ESA in this proceeding as part of a stipulation and settlement agreement between Rocky Mountain Power and Kennecott. The new ESA is to be effective on January 1st, 2026. The Office of Consumer Services has reviewed the ESA and the responses from Rocky Mountain Power and Kennecott to our data requests. The terms of the new ESA are complex, and we find it difficult to know how they will actually function in practice. However, in totality, the OCS believes that the settlement agreement and the new ESA are just and reasonable in result and in the public interest, and we recommend that the Public Service Commission approve them. However, going forward, we request that the Public Service Commission require more analysis and modeling be filed concurrently with the proposed new special contract ESA in order to provide more transparency and to assist in the review of the new contract. And that concludes my statement.
Mr. Vostag is available for cross and questions from the hearing officer.
Mr. Russell,
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Smith,
No questions.
Mr. Grieco,
No questions.
and I have none. Thank you, Mr. Vostok. All right. Is there anything else from any party before we adjourn?
Nothing more from the office.
Nothing from Kennecott.
Nothing from the division.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful morning. We're adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.